Hey y'all, so I had watched this reel, and in the reel, there were some words to identify feelings. And one of the things that I learned in therapy was that it's really hard to, talk to other people about your feelings or even, be introspective about your feelings when you don't really know how to name those feelings. And sometimes when we're young, we're taught like three or four, I'm angry, I'm sad, three or four descriptors for our feelings. And that makes it really difficult to explain and even understand our feelings. And so that reel had several words that we could use to identify our feelings. And when I started reading them, the English teacher in me lost her mind because I was like, oh, well, we could do, new words, but also like talk about the meanings of those words for ourselves in life. And so one of the words that I landed on was sonder. And sonder is the feeling of realizing that everyone, including strangers, has a unique life just as complex as your own, with love, problems, and ambitions. And so it made me think about, first of all, what a beautiful word, right? And when you enter and even when you're ending a relationship, one of the things that you feel is that sonder. It's like understanding that this person has a complex emotional situation, has a complex life situation, and then also making a choice to choose you inside of that, even though you know that that person is showing love to the capacity at which they can, is dealing with their own internal, demons, and then also has ambitions for the future. And sometimes that level of empathy makes us tap into our tenacity instead of just accepting things for the way that they are and understanding that that can be their story and that can be true, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be part of that story. And the reason that I resonated so much with that word is because that's who I am. Like I always want to know people's why. I always want to know and understand and unearth the things that cause them to do what they're doing. But then something that I've learned on my healing journey is that that's data for you to collect. And then you have to discern and decide if that is somebody that's supposed to be in your life, if that is a space that you want to continue to be in, and if their own ways that they love, problems that they're dealing with, and ambitions that they have, if their own unique complexity is triggering to your own, then you have to decide that that is no longer a space for you to be in. So what does that appreciation for sonder help us do? Well, it helps us to build the capacity for empathy, because even if we can't quite put ourselves in that person's shoes because we don't really understand what it feels like to have walked in them, we can still have a feeling of sympathy for their experience. And we can probably empathize with some parts of it. And it helps us to really gain and grasp an understanding of where their brain might be, where their heart might be when they're doing the things that they're doing. I remember, even though the relationship that I was in was toxic, thinking, oh, well, I can understand how he would react this way because he wasn't taught this and this is inside of his family system. And so it makes sense that he would react this way. And also, I'm not willing to be the recipient of those behaviors. So it helps us to build that capacity for empathy. It also helps us to give people grace. And again, we can say, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. I forgive them for the way that what they're doing is impacting me. And I also know that I don't have to receive that. I don't have to receive that as love. I don't have to put the title of love on that. Just because I understand them and just because I'm giving them grace and forgiveness doesn't mean that I have to allow them to continue to make those same impacts on my life and same mistakes over and over again. And I remember, in that same relationship in the beginning stages when he would get angry with life and he would scream at me or take it out on me, I would say, I forgive you for yelling because I know that yelling is the way that you release emotions. And at this stage of my life, I'm not willing to accept that as part of the norm for my relationship. So if you need to communicate with me when you're angry, if you can't do it without yelling, then perhaps we put a pin in it until we can come back later. And that was after, extensive therapy from the relationship that I was in before, and understanding that staying up until 2 and 3 a.m. trying to talk through the issue when this person is hell bent on responding to you that way is just not going to it's not going to yield positive results. It's going to continue the way that it has been, and you're going to continue to receive what you've been receiving from them. And you have to say, that is not the norm that I'm willing to be a part of. And also, I understand and forgive you for that being the case for you. And then the last thing that really having an appreciation for that Sonder does is it helps you to determine who has access to you. And so if you realize that everybody has this complex journey and everybody has gotten to their present moment based on that complex journey, oftentimes that can help someone to develop the techniques and strategies that they need to deal with somebody who has the wounds that you have. Right. And that's not to say that they need to heal those wounds for you, but it's to say that they need to be part of the environment in which you can heal those wounds. Because I'm sure that you've heard this before, but you can't heal in the same place that hurt you. You can't heal with the same characteristics that cause the trauma. And the learning of the access points helps you to understand that sometimes the journey that people have gone through helps them to deal with someone like you, helps them to understand how to be gentle and how to be caring and how to, navigate with somebody who has anxiety or whatever else your concerns are. And it's another opportunity for you to realize that you don't have to be perfect to be inside of a relationship, because while they're doing that for you, you can do that for them. But then it also helps you develop the discernment that says, this person is doing things that trigger me, and it's not triggering me in a healthy way where I know that I need to fix some of the things that I'm, reacting with, etc. But it's triggering me in the way that it's continuing a perpetual loop that I've been experiencing for years. And so you tell yourself, okay, I understand that they had their own unique situation and life experience, and that they're dealing with love the way that they know how, and problems the way that they have been taught and conditioned to, and that they have ambitions, perhaps even for this relationship, but that you aren't willing to give them access to keep harming you while they work through the complexities of their situation. And so today, I just encourage you to understand that your Sonder is beautiful, understanding that you realizing that other people have their own situations and everybody's not looking at life through the same lens as you is a beautiful thing. But then you have to actually do something with it, because you are the only person who's going to protect you the way that you know how in this world. Obviously, God's going to protect you and give you the discernment and things, but like, you have to be the one who thinks about, yes, I'm empathetic for their experience, but I'm not willing to make this part of my norm. Yes, I'm going to give them grace and I'm going to forgive them, but I'm also not going to be here for them to continue that behavior and to hurt me with it. And now I'm going to use this to help me process the access points at which I give people in my life, because if I want to create a life that is the is the experience that I want to live, I'm going to be ambitious to have the love that I want and to work through the problems that I have with joy, etc. Then I'm going to have to be able to have discernment when it comes to who has access to me. So thank you for tuning in. And today I encourage you to just think about those three things and think about how, if you've given someone the benefit of understanding their situation and you're continuing to allow them to hurt you, how you're going to manage that and navigate forward from that so that you no longer have to be in that situation. And if you're not giving people the benefit of the doubt and understanding that everybody's complex situation gives them new perspective, then perhaps this video will encourage you to look at life through the lens of the fact that there are billions of people on this earth, and every single one of them has a different life experience at which they're looking through. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the page. Visit me on all social media sites, as well as go to my website. If you haven't already, tune in to the Peace Podcast, which comes out every Monday on all podcast platforms. If you haven't also already, if you would like and review, that would be amazing. Share these videos with your friends to get the message out to more people. And I appreciate you so much, and I'm so thankful that you continue to listen, and I'll see you next week.